In this Blender tutorial, you are going to see about how to create this in 3D modeling. Actually, I don't know what it is called. I just randomly model this object. Now in add menu, bring a plane, then press S3 numpad to scale up to 3 times bigger. After that in edit mode, press I to insert, then select these spaces, press E to extrude it up. After that again in add menu, bring a plane, move it up. In edit mode, right click subdivide, press shift or twice to repeat the action. Then select the faces I am selecting and then make sure that you enable the loop tools add-on. After enable that add-on, right click loop tool circle, our shape will be converted into circle, and delete those selected faces. Then add a simple deform modifier. Actually added some of my modifiers to add favorites. That is so simple. Go to modifier, place your mouse any one of the modifier, right click, you will have an option called add to quick favorites. Press Q, see that modifier is added to my quick favorites. You can remove any modifier in quick favorites. Just right click, remove quick favorites. I have added some of my modifiers which I often use to quick favorites because then only I can easily bring my modifiers. That's only. After that, change the option to bend angle 360. Then axis to Z. In edit mode, select everything, or X90 to rotate it. Then add an array modifier, bring it up. Then only we get the result what we want. Remember one thing, arranging your modifier, it is so much important. I have already made a video about the importance of the modifier arrangement. You can see that video, the video link in the description, you can check it. And then increase the count up to I think 10 will be fine. Then apply the both modifier. There are two options we can apply our modifier. In arrow mark we have apply option, and there is a shortcut key also. So first place your mouse on the modifier, then press Ctrl A. See, like I said, this is a shortcut key. Just press Ctrl A. By placing your mouse on the modifier, it will be applied. Or whenever you are applying array modifier, always go into edit mode. By select everything, press M, merge by distance, because we will have some extra vertex. See, there are 90 duplicate vertex I have because of the array modifier. Remember one thing, again I'm saying, whenever you are applying array modifier, just go into edit mode, press M and merge by distance. It will remove all the extra duplicate vertex. After that, in object mode, right click, set origin to geometry. My origin will be center of my object. After that, press RX90 to rotate it. Then just scale it down and then press shifters cursor to the selection. Now my selected object will be go to the cursor. Then inside view, wireframe mode, I'm going to just bring it up and I'm going to again scale it down, and again I'm going to bring it down slightly, and I will adjust the scale. Yeah, I think this will be good. After that, I'm going to move it in y-axis like this. Then in edit mode, select these, press GY to move it slightly, and then extrude it, and then scale it down, GY to move it, even scale it further, and then extrude it in y-axis up to here. I think, yeah, this will be good. Then select this. Now press Ctrl B to bevel and segments to 2, shape to 1, disable the loop slides. After that, I'm going to select everything and then press Alt T, extrude face along normals to extrude all the selected faces based on the normals. Then select this face and delete it because I don't need that. Now if you see, we have added some thickness to our object. After that, in here I'm going to add a 2 loop cut, and in here 1 loop cut. In here I'm going to add a 4 loop cut, will be fine. Then select these 3 loop cuts we have just added. Now we have selected totally 7 loop cuts. Then press Ctrl B to bevel, move your mouse scroll wheel backwards to reduce the number of loop cuts. Then press Alt T, extrude face normals, extrude it inside slightly. Then again insert it, and again press Alt T, extrude face normals, and to extrude it inside slightly like this. Yeah, this will be good. After that, go to select and select sharp edges. It will select all the sharp edges in our object. I don't need to bevel this edge, so I'm going to disable it, and then press Ctrl B to bevel, and then move your mouse scroll wheel inwards to add a loop cut. After that, if you press Ctrl 3, it will add a subdivision modifier of level 3. It looks completely fine. I can now just right click and shade smooth. I think it looks perfectly fine, and now I will disable my subdivision modifier for now, and I will shade flat for now only. And then go into top view, make sure that you enable the auto merge vertex option. Then go into wireframe mode. I'm going to select these vertex here. I'm going to zoom in even further. Now press shift D and then Y to duplicate in Y axis. I mean duplicate a move in Y axis. Then make sure that you place this vertex over that vertex. See, now it is becoming into one. Because of the auto merge vertex option, we placed this duplicated vertex on this vertex, so it become into one. After that, press shift R to repeat the action. I think, yeah, here will be fine. Then select this vertex, shifters cursor to the selection, change the transform pivot point to 3D cursor, and then by duplicating that object, right click to place it there, press SY-1 to flip it. I'm going to just move it little bit further like this. Yeah, we have created our first object. By enabling that subdivision modifier, it looks completely fine. I'm going to change my lightning to matcap. We can clearly see we have some black shade. That is because of the normals. In edit mode, select everything, press shift and to recalculate the normals. See, now it looks completely fine. I think I'm going to change my matcap to this because this is my favorite one, or you can change any matcap you want, or this dark brown, on this green color. Yeah, I think this will be good also. Then I'm going to press shift A, mesh, and then I'm going to bring the cylinder in edit mode, press G, shift Z to move it in X and Y axis, not in Z axis. Then just scale it down, then change the transform pivot point to median point, and then just press S and shift Z to scale it down on X and Y axis. Then just scale it down, again press G, shift Z to move it like this, and then I'm going to move it down slightly. Yeah, here will be fine. Then select this face and delete it because I don't need that face, that only. Then select this object, press G and move it and adjust it. After that, select this face, move it down, slightly insert it, and then move it up, then fully insert it like this, and then delete those space. Now select those edges, press Ctrl F, grid fill, then add a 2 loop cut here. After that, add a 4 loop cut here, press Ctrl B to bevel, move your mouse scroll wheel backwards to reduce the number of loop cuts, then press Alt T, extrude face along normals to extrude those spaces inside. After that, go to select sharp edges, it will select all the sharp edges in my object, press Ctrl B to bevel, move your mouse scroll wheel inwards to add a loop cut, just one loop cut. Yeah, it will be fine. After that, I'm going to select these spaces, press shift S, cursor to the selection. After that, in object mode, go to add menu, curve, bring a circle, reduce the scale size, and then in object data properties under geometry in bubble, just increase the depth value like this. In edit mode, by select everything, press shift D and press Z to move it in Z axis downwards, and then press shift R to repeat the action. Now select the cylinder, press Ctrl 3 to add it with the subdivision of modifier. See, it looks completely fine. Now right click and shade smooth. I'm going to add a mirror modifier, so I will have an X and Y axis and enable in Y axis also. See, it looks completely fine. Now select this object, then press shift S, cursor to the selection, then in add menu, curve, bring a path, and then increase the depth value slightly. I think this will be fine. Then in edit mode, I select everything, GY to bring it in Y axis, I mean move it in Y axis, then press GZ to move it up slightly. I think I'm going to reduce my depth value even further. Yeah, I think this will be good. Then move it in Y axis slightly. By select everything, press shift D and Y to move the duplicate object in Y axis. Then press shift R to repeat the action. Yeah, I think this will be good up to here. Now I'm going to add a mirror modifier, enable the Y axis and disable in X axis. Then I'm going to bring a cube, and then in edit mode, I'm going to move it here. Just scale it down and move it here. After that, I'm going to select this bottom face, I'm going to bring it above, and then I'm going to delete it. I'm going to select this pipe and move it slightly upwards. Yeah, this will be good. Now select this space, press GZ to move it down, press SX to scale it down X axis, just move it slightly. Then in here I'm going to add, I think 14 loop cut will be fine, and in here also 14 loop cut. In here I'm going to add a 4 loop cut. Now just select some of the faces that I'm going to select, this face, and then I think, yeah, this face will be fine. Now press I to insert it, then slightly extrude it up, again insert it slightly, then right click, loop to circle, change the transform pivot point to individual origin, just scale it down. After that, just extrude it up, scale it down slightly, and then delete those selected faces. Now select these two faces, press shift S, cursor to the selection. Now my cursor will be center of these two selected faces, and then just click the spin option, change the axis, then just click and drag. It will take the cursor as the center and it will spin it. Change the angle to minus 180 degree. See, because of the auto merge vertex option is enabled, my both vertex is now merged into one. I think it didn't still how. Sometimes it won't connect it with other vertex, we can clearly see it. So that time select everything M, merge by distance. Sometimes we will face that problem, this normal. Then by select everything, press shift and to recalculate the normals, and then go to select sharp edges. Now press Ctrl B to bevel it slightly. Yeah. Now press Ctrl 2 to add it with the subdivision of modifier. Now right click shade smooth. After that, add mirror modifier, enable in Y axis also. Then finally select this object, shift cursor to the selection. Now my cursor is at the center, and then bring a cube in edit mode, press GZ, move it up to here will be fine, I think so. Then select the bottom faces, GZ, move it up, and then delete those spaces. Now select this face, GZ, slightly move it down, then add a 14 loop cut here, and then in here I think 10 loop cut will be fine, and then in here just add a 4 loop cut by select everything, right click subdivide to even add more loop cuts by subdivide. Now press shift H, it will hide all the unselected object. Now select the face that I'm going to select, this one, and then up to here, yeah, and then up to here. Now just slightly insert it, and then right click loop tool circle, just scale it down. After that in wireframe mode, just extrude it in x-axis up to here, then press Ctrl plus to increase the selection, press P, click selection to separate it. After that select this object, I'm going to add a wireframe modifier, and then I'm going to add a bevel modifier. After that now I'm going to reduce the thickness up to 0.015 will be good. We can clearly see we have some design. I think I'm going to change my matte cap to this one, so we can clearly see it. See, we have some design. If I bring my bevel modifier to top, I get a something different design. We can clearly see it, but I think this one will be good for me. After that select this object, press shift H to hide the unselected object, then select these spaces here and then delete it. Now select these 3 edges, extrude it and then scale it down, then fill these with Ctrl F and grip fill, and for this also Ctrl F grip fill, and finally here Ctrl F grip fill. After that select everything, press shift N to recalculate the normals, then add a 4 loop cut here, and here also 4 loop cut, and finally here also 4 loop cut. Then in wireframe mode I'm going to select all these new added loop cuts, then press Ctrl B to bevel, move your mouse scroll wheel backwards to reduce the number of loop cuts. By selecting these spaces, go to select loops, select boundary loops. To select those spaces, boundary edges, press Ctrl B to bevel, then press Alt T, extrude face along normals. After that select these edges, extrude and scale it, then extrude in x-axis, again extrude and scale it down, and finally extrude it and extrude and scale it. Press Ctrl F to grid fill, select these 2 edges, extrude and scale it down, then just fill it with the grid fill and select this face, Ctrl F grid fill, add 1 loop cut here and here, select these 2 loop cuts, press Ctrl B to bevel, and then extrude it inside, and select this object, right click, set origin to geometry. Now my origin will be center of my object. Then select these faces, press shifters, cursor to the selection. After that in add menu curve, bring a circle, RY 90 to rotate it, and just scale it down, and then increase the depth value. I'm going to press GX to move it in X-axis. Yeah, I think this will be good. Then select this object, shifters, cursor to the selection, change the transform pivot point to 3D cursor. Now it will take my 3D cursor as the center. Now select this pipe and then shift D to duplicate. Now press S, Y, -1. See, it is flipped. In edge selection, go to select sharp edges. It will select all the sharp edges in my object. Press Ctrl B to bevel, then move the mouse scroll wheel to increase the number of loop cuts, then press Ctrl 3 to add a subdivision modifier. That's all. Now press Alt H to unhide all the hidden object. Now select this object, then add a mirror modifier. Likewise select this object, I'm going to add a mirror modifier, but if you see I didn't get the same result, that is because for this object my origin is here, so that's why I can easily mirror it in y-axis, but for this object my origin is in the geometry, so that's why I didn't get the same result. We can easily rectify the problem. First select the object, then press shifters, cursor to the selection. Now my cursor is here, then select this object, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. See, that's all. Now I'm going to change my matte cap to this red shining. After completing this modeling only, I noticed some of the problem I have left. If you see, I have a pipe in here, but I didn't have any pipe in all other 3 cylinders. This is the first mistake. The second mistake is my cylinder is not placed in the right position. To rectify this problem, what we have to do is, first I'm going to select this object. I have placed all of the mirror object origin is center of this cube. I mean a cube or plane, something like that we can say it, because then only we can easily mirror it. So first I have selected this object and my cursor is centered in the origin of this object. Now select this cylinder. My cylinder origin is here. So by right click, set origin. Wait a second, I will show it here so we can clearly see the changes. So right click, set origin to 3D cursor. See, now our problem is fixed. So likewise select this pipe, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. Now I'm going to add a mirror modifier in X and Y axis. See, it is completely fixed. Mostly we have used the mirror modifier. That's how we have achieved this beautiful, I don't know what it is called, we have achieved this object. So I can see I have any shading issue or not. So remember one thing, whenever you complete your model, just right click shade smooth or shade auto smooth. That is so much important. Now by seeing my all the object, I think I didn't have any shading issue. If you thought this video helps you to learn something new, then don't forget to like it, and if you are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe it to learn more about in Blender.